Hello and welcome back to the course on Deep Natural Language Processing. In today's tutorial, we're going to talk about the applications of what you will learn. So we'll discuss some of the areas where you can apply your new skills. And I think it's an important tutorial because not only can you use these skills to build chatbots, we will be indeed focusing on chatbots in this course, but at the same time, you can use these same skills, methods, and models in order to create many more things. And that's why in this tutorial we're going to broaden our horizons and see what is possible. Alright, so let's have a look. First one is speech recognition. So I've kind of put them in order of importance or in order of how voluminous the application is, how how often, how impactful it is for our lives, how world-changing these applications have been for us. So speech transcription is a huge one. Whenever you talk into your phone and it writes it out as a text, that is speech transcription. So taking in audio form and putting it into text. But not only does it stop there. So remember previously on the Get Excited tutorial, we talked about some of the chatbots that are like Siri or Cortana or Alexa that are voice-based. Well, that same technology goes in there to understand the waveforms, to understand the sound. We can apply deep natural language processing and then already put in that second part, which is the chatbot, in order to understand what to do with that text, what to do with those instructions. So speech transcription, as you can imagine, it's already very important, and it's going to become more and more important in the years to come. And this can happen, this can be done with deep natural language processing, and we'll have actually we have a case study further down in the course. Then comes neural machine translation, or NMT. So a lot of us have used Google Translate. Most of us have used Google Translate at least once in our lives. Well, previously Google Translate used phrase-based translation algorithms. Now they have switched to neural machine translation, which is powered by exactly the same models as we'll see inside this course. Then we've got the chatbots, which we'll be talking about in depth in the course, and we'll actually create one ourselves. Then we've got the Q&A type of application. It's kind of like similar to a chatbot, but it's not as intense, not as in depth. For example, you have a model which has access to a certain resource, for instance, the Harry Potter books, and you can ask it a question like, what was the name of Harry Potter's mother? And it will spit out an answer. So question, answer, question, answer. There's no conversation going on, but you can get very quickly information from voluminous sources such as books or other sources on the internet, like Wikipedia, for instance. You can get information very quickly. Next one is text summarization. Another powerful application, again, similar to chatbots and Q&A, but less interactive. It's more to do with, like, if you have a lot of text and you need to create a summary. For instance, you have a book and you need to create a summary of the book. Or if you have lots of medical documents and journals and you need to write a synopsis for them, then you can use text summarization as well. But the concept is the same. Again, we need to use the models that we're going to be discussing in order to assess all of the input text and come up with an output text. Next one is image captioning, and that is it's a bit trickier to see how the models we're going to be creating or discussing can be used in image captioning, but it boils down to looking at an image and observing the dependencies in the image to create a caption. For instance, you have like a dog jumping over a fence, and it's like a black dog jumping over a white fence. So the model needs to remember that there's a dog, it's a black dog, it's a fence, and they put it all together. The dog is above the fence, so it's jumping over the fence. So again, we'll talk about this a bit more in the course, but basically what happens is the model is able to assess what's going on in the image and then spit out a text transcription or caption for the image. And finally, we have video captioning. So it's very similar to image captioning, but takes it to the next level. And here, not only do you have information interrelations inside each frame, like in an image, you actually have certain information that you need to look at throughout the movie. So interrelations through time. So you need to see how the plot is progressing, what's happening with the characters, and so on. So that's video captioning. You need to kind of to understand the conversation between characters and convey it properly. You need to understand what was going on in the previous frames, and that's taking our models to the next level. So there we go. That's 7 applications of the things that we'll be discussing and learning in this course. And as we go along, we will actually mention the applications here and there to put it into perspective. So our goal is not only to show you how to create chatbots and what models go into them, what's the intuition behind them, but also to help you come up with other ideas of where you can put to use your newly applied skills. And I hope this gets you even more excited about this course, and let's dive into it. I'll see you in the next tutorial.